This training video will show you what to do on your first sail. You'll learn how to start and stop the boat, control your speed, and turn around. For your first sail, you should choose a light wind day, and the objective is to sail backwards and forwards across the wind, with the wind blowing over the side of the boat like this. This is called a beam reach, and this is the best point of sailing for your first sail. When you have more experience, you can then master the other points of sailing. This video assumes that you're familiar with rigging your boat and you know how to launch safely, and that you understand the points of sailing. Identify where the wind is blowing from by looking at flags ashore, or masthead burgees, or look at ripples on the water. A flapping sail will also indicate where the wind is blowing from. You need to be careful of the no-go zone, which is an area 45 degrees either side of where the wind is blowing from. The sails do not work in this zone, and you will not be able to sail. By identifying where the wind is blowing from, you should be able to work out where the no-go zone is likely to be, and try to ensure that you do not steer unintentionally into this zone. You should be sitting in the boat well forward, like this, and with the tiller extension in the dagger grip in front of your body. This leaves your other hand to control the main sheet. Avoid sitting too far back. It may feel comfortable, but you'll find it difficult to turn around and the boat will not sail as effectively in the water. You should be able to gently push and pull the tiller extension to turn the boat. Keep these movements small and always return the tiller to the straight position as your default. Remember that the boat will turn with even the smallest amount of angle on the tiller. Pushing the tiller towards the boom will turn the nose or bow of the boat towards the wind. This is called luffing up. And pulling the tiller away from the boom will make the bow of the boat turn away from the wind. This is called bearing away. The crew sits in front of the helmsman, and their role is to control the front sail, called a jib, by pulling in or letting go of the control sheet. The easiest point to get a feel for steering, starting and stopping is to position your boat so the wind is blowing across the boat at 90 degrees. This point of sailing is called a beam reach. Here you can see a boat on a beam reach point of sailing with the sails flapping. To help you understand how the wind powers the boat, you should think of your sail as an engine. Pulling in on the main control ropes will pull in the sails, which fills them with wind, which in turn generates drive to the boat through the water. Letting the ropes go makes the sails flap, which reduces power and subsequently slows you down. Your main control ropes are called sheets. Starting with the control sheets loose and the sails flapping with the rudder completely straight, you should gently pull the control sheets for the mainsail and jib until the sails don't flap anymore. When you pull a sail in from a slack position, the last bit to fill with wind is the front part of the sail, so this is the area to look at to make sure that it doesn't flap. Ask the crew to do the same with the head sail. You'll notice that the boat will immediately drive forwards. Sailing dinghies don't have brakes, so to slow down, you must release the power in the sail by slackening the control sheet on both mainsail and jib. When sailing, it's a good idea to take note of a fixed object on the shore and try to adjust the rudder to maintain a steady steering direction towards that point. It's very easy to get disorientated when sailing, so having a constant reference point is a big help to ensure you continue sailing in the right direction. Sooner or later, you're going to run out of water or need to turn for some other reason. There are two ways to turn a boat around. For your first sail, you should turn the nose of the boat through the wind. This is called tacking. The other way of turning, which you should avoid to start with, is called jibing. This is where the nose of the boat turns away from the wind. Both these maneuvers in detail are the subject of other videos on this site. When tacking, the boat will slow significantly, and it's for this reason you should use this maneuver on your first sail. To tack round, you should be sailing along your beam reach. In preparation, look around and make sure that the immediate area is clear from other vessels or hazards. The object of the exercise is to sail back along the track from where you've just come. Check once again that your turning area is safe and you can get ready to turn. Ask the crew to get ready. They should then prepare themselves by making sure that no ropes are tangled around their feet. When they're ready and the area is still clear, you can then start the maneuver. Gently push the tiller towards the boom. The boat will immediately start to turn. Ask the crew to release the jib sheet. Duck under the boom and move across onto the other side of the boat. Once the boom has passed overhead, keep turning until you've gone through 180 degrees. You should now be on a beam reach once more. Move across onto the new side of the boat and sit down. Straighten the tiller and swap your hands over and resume the dagger grip once more like this. The crew, meanwhile, pulls the jib across onto the new side. And both sails are adjusted once more to find the point where they just stop flapping. Now let's take another look. Sailing along the beam reach point of sailing, take a quick look to decide where you plan to end up heading and check the area is clear. Check the crew is ready for the turn. Gently push the tiller towards the boom and turn the nose of the boat through the wind and ask the crew to release their jib sheet. Stepping across the boat, ducking under the boom, keeping the rudder in the same turning position. Once you've turned 180 degrees, straighten the tiller, swap the hands on the tiller and resume to the dagger grip. The crew, meanwhile, pulls the jib across onto the new side and then both of you find the point where the sail just stops flapping. Don't worry too much about your technique just now. The full tacking procedure is the subject of another video. If you want to stop and have a rest at any time, you should learn to hove to. The helmsman and crew release both sails so that they flap. And the crew pulls the jib across onto the wrong side, like this. And then locks the sail in the jam cleat to stop it from flapping. The helmsman then pushes the tiller towards the boom and the crew raises the centreboard so it's about halfway up. All this has the effect of stopping the boat. To get out of the hove to position, the crew simply releases the jib and pulls it across onto the other side. The helmsman straightens the tiller and away you go. Whilst tacking across the wind, you may straighten the rudder too soon. Here, you'll be stuck in the no-go zone with the nose of the boat pointing head to wind. This is called being stuck in irons. If this happens, don't worry. Keep the tiller straight and ask the crew to pull the jib across to one side. This will slowly force the nose of the boat out of the no-go zone. Keep the jib in this position until you've turned 90 degrees. Here you're pointing on a beam reach point of sailing. Release the jib and pull it across onto the other side, and at the same time pull the main sheet in and sail away. If you sail in windier conditions, everything is the same, but events happen considerably faster. You'll notice that the boat will turn faster, the sails flap louder, and the boom travels across the boat faster. If your boat is fitted with a reefing system, you should consider reefing the mainsail. On windy days, this reduces the amount of sail area and takes some of the power away. Watch our rigging and reefing video to see how this is done. Common mistakes. Not understanding where the wind is blowing from, so not setting the sails correctly for the point of sailing you're on. For your first sail, you should turn around by tacking through the wind, as this is easier to master than jibing. Getting stuck in irons. Not keeping a good lookout can put you in a hazardous area with lots of boats or other water users. Not straightening the tiller once the tack is completed. The boat will keep turning. Key learning points. First time out, avoid winds greater than about 12 miles an hour so that you can get the manoeuvre at a manageable speed. Pulling in the control sheets so that the mainsail fills with wind will drive your boat forward. Releasing the control sheets so that the mainsail flaps in the wind will lose drive and slow you down. In your early days of sailing, the easiest condition to practice in is when the wind is blowing across the boat at 90 degrees, called a beam reach. The safest way to turn your boat round is to tack, which is when the bow or nose of the boat goes through the eye of the wind and out onto the other side. It's likely that you'll become disorientated as you tack back and forth, so identify a point to aim at before you turn that will become a reference point for you. If you get stuck in the no-go zone, keep the tiller straight and ask the crew to pull the jib across to one side. If you want to stop and rest while sailing, adopt the hove to position. Next steps. Watch this video as many times as is necessary to have a good understanding of how to start and stop your boat and make simple turns. Use the script and glossary accompanying the video to help you. You should continue to practice this until you're familiar and comfortable with the effect of the rudder and steering controls.